Hello, everyone. I'm Jason Moore from the Space Pets fan blog, and I'm joined by Ghost Rob today. You there, Ghost Rob?
The ghost of Sam Goody.
Yeah, the ghost of Sam Goody. We go to buy the good CDs in really big boxes that were like this big until they said that's bad for the environment. We'll get rid of it because they just wanted them to be as big as records. They wanted them to be have as much shelf space as records.
The last CD I bought new was 30 years ago. Van Halen's For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge in the big box.
I remember buying a bootleg of the Freddie Mercury tribute concert there. I don't know how that happened, but I did. It was like a knockoff.
Years later, that's probably not true because years later I did pick up the Star Wars one. Remember the Star Wars had the long boxed one that had like the cool painted artwork all over it, and it had a bunch of unreleased B-sides and different keys and takes from the themes and shit.
That was a hard box, but it was the same shape as the original CD cardboard cases, right? Right. Yeah, I had that too. I remember. I think it had a retake of the Max Rebo song. But this isn't a Star Wars show. This is a Space Pets fan blog, and that's mostly what I'm concerned with and what I'm all about on this show. If you've been watching, and so this is an article I wanted to bring up. I need a little baby Boba Fett break. I need a little baby Boba Fett break right now. Today I woke up and I said, you know what, Boba Fett, just shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up, Boba Fett. I don't want to hear anything from you. And then gameplay from 1313 leaked. And I was like, oh, fuck you, world. Fuck you. Just fuck you, world. I'm a Space Pets fan blog today. So, I started off with this today because I wanted to talk a little bit about Jane Bay for a while, and I got sidetracked. I didn't do my Jane Bay work, but Jane Bay, I believe, is the person who was Lucas's personal assistant, and she honestly did the research for the Indiana Jones movies. People make it like, Lucas was this, guy who went around, I know occult secrets. Let me make them more fantastical for the movie screens. But in reality, George was like, hey, can Jane Bay go do this work for me? And she would go do it and bring him back a bullet point list. And he'd be like,
this stuff, though.
I was obsessed with what Jane Bay looked up in the library for me. I was obsessed with it.
Yeah.
So this is an article from 1990, UPI.com. Okay. This is from their archives. Lucas's assistant says he never opens his own mail. Stars, they're just like us, right? By Ford. Verena Ford. Calgary, Alberta. The assistant to Star Wars creator George Lucas testified Friday that the filmmaker never read the script from which he is accused of stealing his endearing Ewok characters. Can you imagine that shit? You're like, you know what? I'm just going to rip off some fucking teddy bears. I'm just going to steal some teddy bear ideas. And and some other motherfuckers are going to accuse me of stealing the teddy bear idea.
I have a script with teddy bears in it. Totally fucking invented that shit. No, what's weird though? Hold on.
Yeah.
What's weird is I always thought it was simple. Like when they said, "Oh, we were thinking about doing the Wookiee planet, but cut the budget in half." You cut the name Wookiee in half. You get Ewok. Like, I mean, it's not even
that isn't even what it is though. It's the Miwok.
I know.
Native Americans. Yeah.
I hear you, but I used to just tell people, and they go, "That's true. If you just cut the name in half, eventually you get Ewok, Wookiee, Ewok." It's like the same. Like, you were able to get like 2 Wookiees for the price, or 2 Ewoks for the price of 1 Wookiee. Yeah, doubled their money.
Yeah,
but I hear you.
Lucas's executive assistant Jane Bay testified in federal court in Canada that Lucas doesn't open his own mail, and that unsolicited material is given unread to other assistants to be returned to the sender. These rich fat cats, we can't even send them our ideas to sue them anymore. What the fuck is this? Said someone. Calgary writer-producer Dean Preston So Dean Preston from Calgary, writer-producer, is suing Lucas.
The third.
And Lucas really doesn't even know who he's suing. Come on, dude. If you're going to sue them, at least get the company right. Lucas Films.
That's Marsha's company.
Yeah. And 20th Century Fox Canada Limited for general and punitive damages of $128 million. In 1990 money, that's a lot. Alleging copyright infringement and breach of implied contract. Preston,
you can have an implied contract.
Yeah, I think it's like, I guess it's like when you send somebody something in the mail and like, hey, make this movie, and it's implied you're gonna pay them. I don't know, I'm just guessing though.
Now I know how I'm gonna be president.
Yeah,
hold on. I gotta go write a letter.
Yeah, it's implied you're gonna vote for me, right? I used to be president of Star Wars, so I know. Preston's suit alleges Lucas stole the concept and the name. See, for the characters called Ewoks, bear-like child-sized tree dwellers, from a script called Space Pets that Preston co-wrote and sent to Lucas in 1978. So, what I will say though, what is kind of interesting is we just recently had some stuff come in from an auction of one of the Star Trek writers, the writer who wrote the Tribbles, whatever the fuck they are, those little little things
the
of pubic hair,
bears.
Those little pubic hair, those little walking muffs. Lucas responded to that one. Just saying, but by 1978, he was probably getting avalanched. But there was probably a point where he had a Ringo Starr moment where he's like, with peace and love, I'm not reading your shit anymore. There is no way possible Mr. Lucas could have seen any unsolicited material because George Lucas has never opened his own mail. Never opened his own mail. And all unsolicited material is given to an assistant who returns it to the sender, Bay said. Bay said that 5 weeks after she was hired.
I was divorced for like 3 years, Jason. She didn't tell me.
Do you think Lucas was kind of like ahead of his time and started calling her Bay, even though that's like not her name? He just called her that. Come on, Bay.
Yeah, I was trying to go meh, but it was Bay.
Bay said that 5 weeks after she was hired in August 1977, Lucas had her type up a letter for distribution to his employees that reiterated his policy that unsolicited material was to be returned unopened and unread to the sender. So any letters you wrote to Lucas, he didn't answer him. You know why? Doesn't read his mail. Doesn't even read his email. The issue of unsolicited material is an industry problem, especially for a filmmaker who is successful, Bay said. Bay said she is responsible for all contact with Lucas, be it written, by telephone, or in person. Bay said she handles all of Lucas's scheduling and travel arrangements as well. And by the way, I believe she was listed in Raiders of the Lost Ark and the subsequent Indiana Jones movies as like an assistant to Lucas, like as in the production, you know. So I think she made
to the assistant.
So yeah, so just to be clear, if I'm accurate that this is the same person, I believe she was compensated for the work that she did, you know, for Lucasfilm. It's not like, you know, Lucas was just like, thanks for the ideas and was stealing from her while not stealing from this guy. It just sounds like from this that is just trying to cash in on, well, I did send him something similar. It was called Space Pets. Sounds a lot like Return of the Jedi to me. They're from space and they're pets, right? I mean, that's
trying to pay her in Wicket bucks. Like, it's just really cool thing we're using down at the ranch. Wicket bucks. You could buy anything with it. You know, we could buy like an afternoon off. You know, you could buy a romp in the sack with the old Georgie.
I mean, at this point,
me up on that.
Dude, like you kind of got to get into his head too. Like at this point, we have fucking Ewoks on ice, you guys. Ewoks on ice is a thing. You know, I think it was like called like the Ewoks and the Magic Berries or some bullshit like that.
Everything was on fucking ice in the mid '80s. I hated it.
They were on. Remember the Ice Capades? Remember that bullshit? used to be this TV show called The Ice Capades, and they would just show like people ice skating. And as a kid, I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? Why are you doing this to us?
Fucking mom was obsessed with it.
Yeah, it was painful, man. For every Golden Girls they gave us an ice capade. That's just how the world is.
Was it 85? I think it was 85 when the Night Stalker was running rampant down in LA.
Had anybody told them about the Ice Capades creators?
Well, that was what I was trying to get to.
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to get to. Is I was in LA with my uncle and my aunt, who they were the ones who would take me to Disney because getting the California pass was pretty cheap at the time. Right. And so we're down there watching Terminator bootleg, by the way, with the fucking Night Stalker, like police outside. It was crazy. And then they go, "Hey, you want to go to Disney on Ice tomorrow, or you want to go to Disneyland?" I'm like, "Fuck Disneyland." And they're like, "But Disney on Ice." And I'm like, "Disneyland." And then, but you also get dinner at Chucky Disneyland. Like, what are you? I don't care about giant people in costumes ice skating, man. Like,
yeah. I also remember around the time there was like a live action He-Man show as well. It was just like, what is going on?
The only thing on ice I've ever enjoyed, and I watch it once every year, is the opening to the Sesame Street Christmas special where they spin Oscar or the Grouch around and then throw him through a wall, and he just keeps flying through walls and downstairs.
Yeah.
and outside and when they pick him up, his legs are limp like he's dead and shit. It's hilarious. I just sit there cackling at the screen with my cookies every Christmas. That's it.
Lucas, after testifying Thursday, told reporters that lawsuits like Preston's are the price of success, I guess. Anytime you have a successful movie, you have a lot of lawsuits, which is true.
I was begging anybody to sue me over Jar Jar.
I mean, that was
someone else credit for that, but
this is the white San Francisco version of Mo Money Mo Problems right here. I get it. The case continues Monday, and Preston's lawyer, Webster MacDonald Sr., said he would call as witnesses a drama expert. "Hello, I am Lance Burton, drama expert. I can tell you these Ewoks are definitely space vets. I can see it in their eyes. They yearn to be tamed, to be on a choker, to be my servant, to fetch for me, and to do my every whim at the dog park." So Lucas lost, and Star Wars was
had a frivolous lawsuit farm. E-I-E-I-O.
Can you imagine the phone call if Lucas had lost? Marsha, we owe some money, Marsha. We owe some fucking money
to help out.
You said when you took half that no one was going to know we were still in the Space Fest idea. You said no one would believe it. But
remember when you thought that they grew those Cabbage Patches in a real patch? Yeah, we're in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah. Remember when you left?
If you lose a teddy bear fucking claim, dude, the thing that drove Macquarie away from the art department. You know what I mean? The great Ralph Macquarie couldn't even take these fucking teddy bears.
I sensed that the show would kind of be going that way, and that's one of the today. I thought it was a good day to go into a little bit about because today randomly I don't get burnt out that much, but I'm feeling a little bit of like a Boba burnout, and I started thinking about when Lucas was when Lucasfilm kind of had the sellout vibe going on, when the burnout set in, when the party was over. And so I pulled some stuff for us to talk about from that. After
there was a party for Boba Fett.
No, well, there was.
Why
there was
wasn't I invited?
There was a party for Star Wars when people were in hot tubs. Nobody was wearing a bra. There was weed everywhere, and there were jars full of candy and.
Guillermo del Toro. That's when I was trying to make the movie. And I showed up into the tub and they canceled all the projects. Damn it.
Lucas's lawyer, W. Graham Dutton, said he would call as a witness Joe Johnston. Motherfucking Joe Johnston. Key witness. Key witness Joe fucking Johnston, who helped
future
design
Rocket Boys director Joe fucking Johns.
Who directed Last Summers.
Future director of The Rocketeer, Joe Johnston. Future director Jurassic Park 3, Joe Johnston.
Question for the chat. How many of you believe he's just doing a really bad Yoda impression right now? Okay, because it's totally
also known as the person who complained about all the Star Wars movies, Joe Johnston.
Joe Johnston. No, actually, Joe was pretty much the good version of a company man. You could tell he wasn't a sellout, but he never really shit talked it. Lucas's lawyer.
The new ones, he said he wouldn't do anything after working with Marvel on Captain America.
Right? That was Disney because Disney burned their bridge with them. Yeah, but that's
also complained about Disney. I am done with
Graham Dutton, or the Doot, as we call him, the Doot. When Lucas has problems, they call him the Doot, and said he would call us witness Joe Johnston, who helped design the Ewoks and who directed last summer's hit movie Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, little known fact. I, Joe Johnston, based the Ewoks off of Rick Moranis. I just said if you just make them really furry, if you just make Rick Moranis really furry, you basically get an Ewok.
Pretty much. Lucas testified Thursday before Justice Andrew McKay that his Ewoks and Preston's creatures are similarly only in a gross sense, in that they're fucking disgusting. They have fur, and they walk on 2 feet, and both are an alien race that's primitive and lives in the forest. Yeah, I think there's a couple of key. I mean, what's interesting is that the article says that the name Ewok was even stolen, but they don't even touch on that so far. So that's kind of it. I tried to find the Space Bet script. I figured it may be floating around since it was part of this case. Couldn't find it anywhere. Lucas said he devised the Star Wars space adventure concept in the early 1970s, and that his first mention of an Ewok is in 1981 handwritten draft of Return of the Jedi, where Ewok is described as a 3-foot-tall, stubby ball of fuzz with large yellow eyes and a tail. The Canadian case came to trial only a week after humorist Art Bookwald won a $5 million breach of contract lawsuit against Paramount Pictures, in which he contended that the plot of the hit movie Coming to America was based on his story concept. What, the Prince and the Pauper? Is this the Prince and the Pauper? How do you win? How do you fucking win that? I wonder. There must be more to it, right?
Had to do with Zamunda and all that stuff. It was very specific, actually.
Was it really? Okay.
He's friends with one of my animation teacher, Jerry Bryce. So that's. But what happened was Bushwald actually won that lawsuit. Took fucking forever. I think he took almost 20 years to get paid. Man, it was crazy. But it was seen as like, oh my God, someone actually won one. And then the doors started flooding to anyone who ever sent a script. The art thing was different because he was developing that directly for Eddie Murphy's like production studio. It wasn't like an unsolicited script sent to fucking Paramount, you know, in which Paramount was like, hey, oh shit, man, there it is. Oh no. Hey, folks, when you think Disney could do, I mean, we were like, Lucas would never do this. Like, that has got Disney written all over it.
The Ewoks and the Magic Sunberries, a tale for kids, 3 to 93. You said it, George Lucas. On the mystic moon of Endor, where enchanted forests grow, there dwells a furry fellowship. The Ewoks, don't you know? The Ewoks live in giant trees. They're busy all day, just fucking and sucking. But around the bonfire every night, they sing and dance and play and fucking and sucking. The storyteller is Logray, an Ewok, old and wise. He now begins a classic tale of life beyond our skies, of sucking and fucking. You'll need a course in Ewokese to help you understand the glories and the triumphs of this happy clan. Nothing ever goes good after the clan. Sit back, relax, enjoy yourself. Bravo! You're on your way. Presto changeo. Beachy Wawa. You're an Ewok for the day. I always thought it was
You know who they tried to get on one of these bullshit lawsuits?
Wait, hold on. Is it been Beachy Wawa this whole time? Because I thought it was Ichiwawa, like E for Ewoks. This is blowing my fucking mind right now. I never read that far down this bullshit. I never got to this part because I didn't have to.
This is this is the bottom of the barrel of the Mandela effect, Jason. We don't want to be getting into this argument. You know?
The universe is officially
6 and
yeah. I gotta say though, if some of you guys showed up to let's say Star Wars Celebration dressed in these, I would respect the fuck out of you. But I don't want to know.
Everyone thinks Disney did to Star Wars. And I'm like, no, Lucas was doing this just fine, man. You know,
I mean, Lucas stole this shit. This is Space Pets, dude. This is some Space Pets shit right here. And Lucas just that fucking thief, you know? That fucking thief, George Lucas.
Now, whoever thought bears could live in the fucking woods, huh? Real fucking original concept. Just saying.
Yeah. You ever hear about that bear who served in the Russians and served in the Russian army and fought fucking Nazis and would drink like 2 bottles of vodka a day and he would eat cigarettes and he was like a Nazi hunter. I don't know if he ever captured any Nazis or anything like that, but they said he was the Nazi hunter. And after the war, that just
needs to be a comic book.
He died. He ends up dying because after the war, the Russian soldiers would show up and they would feed him cigarettes, which I think he earned, being a vet and everything. You know, thank you for your service, Bear. But yeah, he ended up dying a little bit later because he ate too many cigarettes, I guess. But it's a statue.
Well, I just want to say, before we move on to the next topic, was they tried to get James Cameron on this, you know, when Avatar took off, and everyone who ever had an idea for a fucking alien planet, you know, and he won every lawsuit, and it's really simple. And he finally put out a book. I have it. It was I bought it for myself last week. Tech Noir by James Cameron. It's really good. It's got all of his artwork, right, from high school, from junior high on up, right?
Yeah.
And but he's got all the sketches he just wheeled into court of xenogenesis from high school. You know what I mean? And there's the blue people on a planet with floating islands. And he's like, I drew this shit in fucking high school. I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't read your fucking script, you know? Like, it's not a fucking immediately... Like, in the 70s, everyone was drawing people on alien planets with crystals and giant...
I saw that shit on some vans when I was a kid. Like, not vans with shoes, like vans driving down the street. I saw some big-ass... The first time I probably ever saw some big-ass titties was on a van, just driving down the street.
Like, what I love the most about the Book of Boba Fett, which I'm getting tired of hearing that fucking name every time, is no one can ever complain about Dances with Wolves in Space ever again with Avatar. Can't do it.
So I don't know the backstory of this really. Just I know this video was sent to me that's on YouTube, and in honor of the Vault Project's 6th anniversary. So happy anniversary, Vault Project! Oh, look over here, it's us, and the Making Star Wars show. Watch us mace debate one another, mace debate with friends in the comments. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, you know what? There are times I come up with puns, and I just give my wife that dog look, you know, that husky over the shoulder. Yeah. Every time you say mace debate, that's what I see.
Yeah.
Husky. Huh?
Okay, so this right here is some gameplay footage of 1313, which originally wasn't a Boba Fett game, then eventually became one. I think as they started to develop Star Wars Underworld a little bit more and maybe felt more pressure to make it more, you know, accessible. You know what I mean? Like Boba Fett's a bigger character to push. But Boba Fett was going to have I wonder if I should have sound on this or not.
No.
I'm going to put the sound way down.
Sound.
Yeah. I don't think it's anything that's actually out there, but you know.
I get DMCA for breeding. I don't know how like
yeah, but I mean, but look at the time, like how good this would have been. You know, actually, hold on, let me
2011-ish, right?
Oh, I want to say before even. Am I wrong about that? It looks like the video only goes up to 480p. This is probably somebody's. I don't know the story. This is probably from somebody's little reel that they would give to get hired, you know, so they probably only had 480p back then but I mean, this looked really good. I mean, I guess this is just a prototype. It never really got past the prototype phase, and so it's not like this could be played or anything, but very, very impressive for the time. I actually wonder if this even would have worked at the time. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know anything about
it. Would have ran at 15
side.
frames per second, like most PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 games. I think people forget that 2006 to 2008, a lot of those games were running sub 30, which is why now on the Xbox One and stuff, when they can like do the frame blast, they're actually getting to see these games play well. They're like, hey, these things were actually fun. But yeah, you were getting almost Nintendo 64 frame rates.
Look.
Oh, the meat.
The meat. I wonder if that was any reason why this came out. But I like how the meat had like diodes hooked up to it, like they were shocking the meat to keep it fresh or to keep it tender.
That's creepy looking.
Yeah. But so you just basically see
this is after Uncharted, so this is 2000.
Yeah, somebody
10ish somewhere. Around
okay.
There.
Yeah, the game was in development for quite a while. I'll try to look it up really quickly. What I'll look up what year, because it got Game of the Year, right? 1313 was Game of the Year. At
shit,
E3.
Really? Because that that demo where they're on the skiff. Yeah, that was 2012 when that demo came out, right?
I'm looking it up right now.
Because I remember I could have sworn I was back in T-shirts when that demo finally came out, but I might be wrong. I'm hazy on the 2010.
What were you in before that? Diapers?
I was making Game Fan, and I lost all track of time. Bro, here's how crazy it was when I was making that game magazine by myself. I would go and buy a box of donuts, bring it to my house, and I would just take a bite of a donut and just keep working until I get tired and take another bite or two of a donut. And I just lived off a box of donut for like 5 days, you know?
Right.
It was sad.
Okay. 1313 one was reveal in June 2012.
2012, yeah. Because I went back to T-shirts around that exact time.
Because I remember the game kind of had like a second go. It was like supposed to come out, then it like stalled out, and then it was revamped. And yeah, I'm guessing that
in August of 2012, late July or August of 2012 was when we had that call with Lucasfilm, in which I gave him the fucking Rob down, right?
The Rob down, yeah.
Yeah.
You need to kiss more. Looks. See right here. I think we're seeing the original hero. So some of that.
Oh yeah, we need Tamura to pull that move off.
Yeah, because the original guy from the E3 thing looked a little bit more like Sam Witwer-esque in appearance, and a little bit more like
they might have been using the same base rig from Force Unleashed or something.
Yeah,
you know,
right. But yeah. Pretty cool. I mean, it's too bad. It's just another one of those things with Star Wars where you're like, oh, they couldn't make it happen, you know?
Immediately took the rocket pack off, so you couldn't just fly anywhere and ignore all the fucking.
Yeah.
Who knew that you could just wear it the whole time and still ignore using the rocket pack and get away with it, huh? All the fans will defend it, and I'm like, can you really defend the logic?
Can you though?
Can you? Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, so
I love when stuff like that gets out. I do. I enjoy. You know, there's so many things that I've seen behind the scenes of projects that haven't been announced. You know, and when they're at that phase, for me, it's the funnest part of game development.
Yeah,
like because you're not. No one's against adding an idea because scope creep isn't really a problem yet. You know?
Yeah.
Like you could still do that. Like, oh, but what if he did that? Oh, what if, that's cool. Oh yeah. There gets a point where it's like, everyone shut up and just make the thing we agreed to make.
Yeah.
Because Christmas is coming. It's Santa's Taskmaster. So.
Yeah. Cassian Andor said Care Bears. And I thought that was kind of funny because I thought the same thing when I was reading it. I was like, why don't they, why aren't they going after Care Bears? It seems like that might have been, but I guess maybe they didn't.
Because they lived in the clouds, not space.
Yeah, I guess
totally different. It's totally fucking different.
Makes sense.
And they got the symbols on their tummies. That's very unique.
Hey, Star Wars Santa, how's it going, dude? Lucas is credited for writing Caravan of Courage. There's some quality Star Wars right there. Yeah,
I love subtle shade Santa.
Subtle shade Santa.
I really do.
I pulled a couple of side things because I wanted to sort of give some Boba Fett stuff because I know some people are not as burned down on it who are spending hours on it like I am. But this is from the Making of Empire Strikes Back. Lucas had transformed the Super Trooper into a more or less completely designed galactic mercenary. There was some urgency to tasks as Lucas had decided to feature Fett in an upcoming holiday special cartoon or special scheduled to broadcast that Christmas. The idea had also been prioritized to satisfy the needs of Black Falcon and Kenner, both of which wanted to have something to market before the release of Empire, still 2 years away. And right here, let me take this off right here. People all the time forget that, like these old vintage Star Wars bed sheets right here. And hold on, I'm on the wrong side. Still got it after all these years. I usually have this on the chair behind me because it's, I don't know, just makes me like a little Star Wars chair. Makes me happy. But yeah, so I don't know if you can see this right here. Can you see like 1979 Black Falcon, 1977 20th Century Fox. And you still had Fox being credited because that deal for Lucas to own all of this shit was still kind of like being handled, and then Black Falcon was the company that was made to handle it all. So I thought that was kind of fun for what it is, and this is also something fun I wanted to touch on. Is this little dilly bob here. So this is Dave. Some people have asked us in the past, like about David Prows. This isn't like a deep dive on David Prows being fucking stupid, but this is almost how they like dealt with it. You know, this is kind of like what the attitude was. Quote: "We had a scene where I have a Han Solo in a torture chamber, but I have no idea how he got there." Prows says, "There is so much money involved now. Everyone walks in fear and dread about getting ripped off. Everything is so secretive. No one will tell you a thing. You've got your script sections with dialogue and whatever descriptions were incorporated, and Kirshner would give a sort of briefing as to what went there, but nobody gave away the plot." But he does. He gives it away lots.
I told him, Prows, the plot is up your butt and around the corner.
As the Register of
find it funny.
As the Register of Santa Ana, California would report, Prows had a habit of giving away the plot secrets. He doesn't mean to, Hamill says. He just has this childlike quality to please. Hamill called it a childlike quality. He basically just called him a fucking slow adult. When you get down to it.
Sometimes he piddles himself.
Yeah. And then Kirshner's all, David talks his head off. So, yeah. Also, maybe the quartering.
Shut the fuck up.
The quartering might want to look into the Register of Santa Ana as the people who propagated the Kelly Marie Tran harassment, as one of the IP addresses was located in Santa Ana. So maybe it wasn't me. Maybe it was the Register of Santa Ana itself, because that's only 20 miles from me.
There is a saying, all scams start in Orange County. So anytime I see some scam-like controversy go down, I'm like, where did this originate? Orange County.
Fair enough.
Shocking. I'm shocked.
Fair enough. Yeah. But so he goes on to like talk about what he talked about in when he talks about in Starlog. A disfigured Vader would be on mask, printed in its June 1979 issue. Lucasfilm began keeping track of who leaked what and where it was published. Its first report was telexed to the studio. Harrison Ford, 1 leak. Carrie Fisher, 1 leak. David Prowse, 9 leaks. Harrison Ford, 1 leak. Carrie Fisher, 1 leak. David Prowse, 9 leaks. So he's on fire. And then he says, I talked at science fiction conventions, and I try to give them a little bit of information they don't have, Prowse admits. And I'll always say, whatever happens, don't mention this to anybody.
This will be our little secret.
It totally works, you guys. Just say, don't mention this to anybody. But I am responsible for more leaks of information on this picture than anybody. People ask me questions, and I let things drop.
This motherfucker. You know, I'm saying, how do you think a diabetic gets a Mongolian barbecue beef habit? Huh? How do you think that happens, Jason? Fucking Comic-Con. This motherfucker.
So they gave David pages of dummy scripts on this movie, Hamill says. Dummy pages. They just mean like he's a dummy. He was saying lines I knew were not real, but he didn't know I knew. Damn. I got to say, though, that is just setting up for like straight up animosity on the set. Not, I mean, what do you do when you have a dummy like that? But
he is a childlike mind. Give him the Howard the Duck script.
Yeah, it's definitely different. But
it was my job. I spent 7 years in the 80s just writing dummy scripts for David Prows to leak. I didn't know that's how I was gonna be in the industry, but I mean, technically, you know, this is a living.
Yeah. Everybody says my ideas are so bad. I've only been hired just to write fake scripts for David Prows, and I'm not there anymore, but I'm still writing them.
I told all my friends I was writing scripts for George Lucas, but really it was just the dummy scripts for David Prows.
I wonder who did that.
So, my friend, that is the interview to get. You know what I mean? Like, if we could get anyone on the show ever, my God, I would just. Do you just go, okay, fucking fifth take. What do I, Vader enters the room, sees an unsolicited script about space bears. Okay.
Yeah. Just, you have to imagine, though, it's all like interior fire palace. So David Prowse like, okay, so Darth Vader walks into the fire palace. The Millennium Falcon's there. Okay. He shows up on set. It's a fucking snow fortress. It's Echo Base. He's just like, what?
Yeah, we're gonna fix all it in the computer later, David. Just don't worry about it. Just get with the snow. It's really gonna be fire. Stupid idiot.
Yeah. I do have to admit, one of the asshole things I did as a teenager was wrote a script about the it was called Devin and the Little People, and I had a friend from school who I told them we had computers at my new school. I changed schools. We had computers at my new school, and we could do all of the Star Wars Special Edition magic at the school. He was just like, "Whoa, man." And I was like, yeah, so I filmed my friend jumping off of walls and tucking and rolling and stuff. And I'm like, dude, there's gonna be dinosaurs chasing you like Jurassic Park right now. And then in the end, we just had this reel of my friend just like jumping through Century 21 signs and stuff, just like he was a maniac. He was making a different movie. And he and it was so it was just like, you know, the maniac courage of Devin is what it was called, and he thought he was making, you know, the Star Wars Special Edition.
Well, quickly, I had this film class, and I told you, like, I didn't have access to a camera, so they let me do an audio drama. I did Butt Wars. It was just Beavis and Butthead. We did the whole movie.
Just Butt Wars.
2 hours long. But to that was. To get out, I had to do something in video, so they let me borrow. I got to borrow the camera for one afternoon, right?
Yeah,
I had no what to do, so I had this. I just gave this character called Buff Man, where I just put pillows under my shirt to make me buff, and then we got a toy dinosaur and literally did that dinosaur. We held it in front of the camera like with a hand, and just kind of scaled me, and I was like, "I'm punching the dinosaur," and it would grab my arm. Ah! And I was like, I didn't know what to do, man. I'm not a fucking filmmaker. I play with the mind. I'm sound. So, stuck with the Butt Wars, you know?
Yeah. Well, see, Rick, the thing is that like, you know, you want to say David Prowse gave no fucks, but he was kind of a sensitive little bitch. I mean, my friend Jeremy Conrad would do my podcast all the time. He was like a pretty much a regular on the show, and he comes on and he talks about I don't even remember what it was. It was like a lawsuit of some kind, and David Prowse DMs me. And he's like, just so you know, you are being banned for your friendship with Jeremy Conrad. And I'm just like, what? Because somebody on my podcast said something that you don't like, you're gonna ban or block me. It was very weird. It was kind of hilarious. It was sort of surreal, you know. The big guy from like your childhood is just like writing you to tell you he's blocking you on the internet. But that was a thing. Is that like I just noticed that people do, like they hold me responsible for anything anybody on the show says, as if I'm like, you know, the fucking word police or something like that. I could see if somebody's just going like off the rails, but no, I'm not Jeremy Conrad's, you know, babysitter. I mean, if he talks shit on you,
Rob keeps doing those.
Yeah, it's not my fault. Yeah, it's not my fault. No, I mean, it's like, you know, people are very, very weird, you know. Well, like another time, he pranked Star Wars Newsnet and sent them the covers of the original Star Wars with legends on the top, and he sent it to them, and then they fucking published it. and then but he had told me
it's such a simple, really effective prank though. What I love is the simplicity. It takes almost nothing to do, and almost every Yahoo idiot would fall for it, you know?
Yeah. but Star Wars Newsnet is still fucking salty about it, as if like he told me, and I was just like at the time I was busy. I was like, I don't okay. I was like, that's so dumb. You know, that was my that's so dumb. I didn't even like talk to him about it. I just like left it alone, and I was just like kind of like, and then they fucking ran it, and I was just like, fucking these guys, you know,
they're idiots. Yeah. So yeah, they've basically got Ron Burgundy. You just put anything on the fucking card, and you're not held responsible.
Yeah, and then they got mad at me about it, like as if it was like my idea, or like, you know, like I could see if they were like, I thought we were friends. You could have told us we were being pranked, but number one, you had ran it before I even really knew what was going on, and but number two, use your fucking head, dummy. I mean, you didn't get a second.
Did you get multiple sources too? Do you just take one fucking solicited fucking image and then run it? I mean, did they watermark it too? Being a dick.
Probably did. Yeah, it was like one of those things where I was like, and then then after that, like, and for the record, I do think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious on many levels. And yeah, so funny that it to this day they are still salty about it. It's just like,
come on, if they sent this shit to you and you and I had a 45-minute discussion about it and got all in a rile and it was a prank, then like it's on us. We're like, oh shit, we're idiots. You know what I mean? They got us. We're
just use your head. Just use your head.
Right.
And or reach out for comment.
It's not like you sent them 57 pizzas. You know what I mean? And we're stuck paying the bill. Like, you just dumbasses. It's fine.
I didn't take high school journalism, but I mean, come on. It's about that level.
I consider that a gut check. Like, okay, so what else are we running that's bullshit if that made it through the fucking firewall of, you know, vetting information? Like, what else are we doing? Like, you take the opportunity then to double check everything you're doing, you know, unless your whole goal is to run bullshit. Then, hey man, that's on you, you know, like.
I think it's what happens when you're so competitive, you get stupid, and then you get mad you got stupid, and then
what we do is we just bring up old lawsuits from the 80s, and then
because that's the thing about like Star Wars leaks is it's really just a cesspool of the Star Wars Newsnet moderation staff who are over there pretending like it's two separate things. It's wacky. But so anyways, this goes on a little bit now to get into like when Lucasfilm changed, when Lucasfilm went through the change. I was still working either on the I was either working on the lot at Universal Studios or the San Anselmo when the Egg building came into being, says Alsup. That was during a period of time when Lucasfilm was growing. I thought the building was attractive, but I wasn't sure enough. Let me change the image here because fucking Kindle doesn't let you change over just to what you want to fill at home. The Egg Company, can you guys see that okay? Okay, the Egg Company, let me make it bigger so you guys can read it too. The Egg Company was the beginning of bringing in, unfortunately, unfriendly, authoritarian, non-filmmaking executives. Just want to put that in there that this person has said this many times. You don't just say that. Unfortunately, unfriendly, authoritarian, non-filmmaking executives. Our original delightful, casual Lucasfilm was fading into a big deal corporation. There was this us and them, says Bloom. There's production, and then there's corporate. But it was very nice, you know? All the production people used to joke, well, it's all about us, because without us, there would be no corporate. What changed? That's
they don't know what a holding company is, you know.
Yeah, they don't know. They didn't see the '90s coming, did they? They didn't see Space Jam, did they?
Rick McCollum shows up. Well, let me tell you something. We really need is a room in my desk. See the Indiana Jones Chronicles making of to find out what you really need.
Hey, Indiana Jones Chronicles was innovative. What changed us is that the LA office kind of exploded, and a lot of people got hired down there, and they were the ones that were pretty much telling me what to do, says Lucy Wilson. Lucy Wilson, I believe, was like the head of like the budget stuff, the money, bookkeeping. And all of a sudden, I didn't have access to George anymore, and that was a big surprise. The person that I used to be able to say hi and chat with, I couldn't talk to him unless I had an appointment. I never had a reason to have an appointment because she goes on to say I wasn't that important, essentially. Hold on. Let me bring up that slide. I didn't do anything that serious. So here was this big thing, and I was a part of, but in a way, I was less a part of it than I had ever been before. George became more and more isolated from the day-to-day interaction with people, says Bert. And that for people like me, who started out with a different ambience in the company, I found that hard to live with. But nothing stands still, and the success of the company after Star Wars led to a lot of changes. And here you can see, look at that place, both kind of fancy and tacky at the same time.
Yeah, I love it. My wife knows I love this aesthetic, and she can't stand it.
Yeah, it's
I love late 70s, early 80s Mork and Mindy aesthetic. I love it.
It actually, to me, it feels more like mid 80s, where you have that Small Wonder set looking vibe to it.
It's 86. No, this is closer to 83, 84. This is a family ties kind of set.
Yeah,
this is where Santa's
right.
This is what he lays out for the little hot elves to come.
This was an Egg Company, and then they turned it into the LA office before deciding that's all bullshit.
Egg Company, it's such a 70s thing, you know. Yeah. Like it's such a.
And then I meant to read this one earlier. The Boba Fett character is really an early version of Darth Vader. He's also very much like the man with no name from Sergio Leone in Westerns. So the earliest version of the mercenary was a Prince Valorum, a Black Knight of the Sith, who had appeared in Lucas's rough draft for Star Wars, where he was employed by Vader to track down the heroes. But so that was the last little bit.
Valorum.
Yeah. What is James writing? The foreign press picked up an article from The Onion stating that Congress was going to move to Texas if they didn't get a retractable dome. One of my favorite Onion videos ever is about the Ocular Penetration Act. It's so fucking funny if you've never seen that. Look up that one. It's good. But yeah. So, anyways, Star Wars, man. What are you gonna do? You know.
Used to be friends, and then the money came in, and we were buddies. We used to talk before coffee, and now we just get paychecks and have to move to Marion County. Fucking terrible.
I mean, that's like one of the things that you never really Lucas has never asked about, or nobody ever talks about, because that's one of the things that I'm curious about, that side of it from Lucas's perspective, because I mean, I mean, obviously, I have never had any success anywhere near George Lucas, but in my past, whenever I found that the more success that I had, the more isolated you feel. You know, all of a sudden, people just want things from you, and they're trying to use you for things, and it's like a big head fuck. So I would love to see somebody actually interview George Lucas about this time, because it couldn't have been nice for Lucas to all of a sudden, number one, he probably had people that were just up his butt all the time about everything. Just to hey, look at me, see me, big famous creator of Star Wars. But also at the same time, when you used to talk to Lucy Wilson or whatever, now you don't really as much and shit. It's got to be weird. It's got to be.
I really wanted to talk to my wife, and she just wouldn't shut up about it. Maybe my kid could have a lightsaber, huh? Fucking this shit.
Yeah. Well, because it's like
to get my Sanka. That's all I'm trying to do here.
Well, because Lucas is like a Lucas is like I mean, he's a nerd. He wants to be cool. He wants to comb his hair cool and pretend to be a greaser. But he's just a fucking nerd. He's not cool.
He's got a good spit curl, man. He's got a spit curl that makes Superman jealous. You know what I mean?
He's lucky when he was young. He was good looking. I mean, that's really what he had going for him, and why things worked out for him, I think. Otherwise, I don't see how that nerd could have got anything.
Yeah, compared to Martin Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola, he was a fucking Calvin Klein model.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real,
But so anyways, when you put all of that together, all of a sudden now Lucas, who nobody paid attention to and was probably the quiet guy in the corner for the most part, now everybody wants to sit with him and talk with him. It's got to be kind of a weird thing, But there was an interview I don't want to pull up about Book of Boba, and on it they were implying that Boba Fett is going to get tired of all of that shit, of being the diplomat. So he's trying to really use his negotiating tactics, and we'll see how that works out for him. So I have a feeling that basically in the next two episodes of the show is where we're going to probably move into once it's war. That's where I'm guessing all of the great stuff was saved for Boba and not used early on. And I don't, no matter how good it is, I have to say, I don't know if it was worth it.
I mean, I just want them to hook up with Ricky Gervais and Warwick Davis and make the Book of David Prowse, where it's just all the fake scripts they hand him, and he goes to Comic-Con's leaking bullshit information.
Yeah.
And his poor little screenwriter. It's my fucking dream to write scripts, and I'm over here writing Vader in his space Chuck E. Cheese.
It's just always weird. It's always weird to me that they even entertained him. Excuse me.
Why? Yeah, how about we just sue your fucking ass and we just get someone else to be in this fucking helmet, because it could be literally anybody.
I mean, why? Seriously. Why? Yeah, well, no, I mean that's the thing is, but during Empire, they really started to push him out, and Bob Anderson's doing all of the sword fighting. By Return of the Jedi, he's barely even in the suit. He's barely doing anything. His big contribution, as they make it sound, was when he picks up the Emperor and throws him in the pit, and it sounds like they were just keeping him around for the press, just to seem like he was still involved and not fired. And then Richard Marquand they were having a problems with making it look right. And David Prowse was like, I can do it. And then they're like, okay, yeah. It was the solution at the time that the guy who was a bodybuilder lift him up and throw him. And so that was his big moment. And it's an important moment. But it's just weird because, you would just think you could have just got some other big guy to do it. And I mean, I don't mean to like take away what he did give to the character, but a lot of what he gave to the character was simply biological. I mean, when you and even his performance as Darth Vader is not really like when you watch A New Hope, it's the rockiest version of it, and that's Dave Prowse, you know. But Salvador says, I thought Boba was going to be a real chaos for the criminal syndicates organization in the series, you know, and I still think you might be right. I still think that's what it's going to amount to as the series continues. You know, he's gonna be disrupt everything, and then I'm gonna guess continue to grow beyond where he should. I mean,
one day we'll figure out what the show's about, and that'll be the day. You know,
well,
it's so weird, man.
If the show follows through with the general tropes, don't we kind of end up with our Tony Montana doing bowls of coke and having the machine gun at the end?
I'm trying to figure out how that's the moral. Like, the moral isn't like a failed character. The moral is I can't wait to become a respectable criminal. I don't know, man. It's not a compelling story. Like, the premise alone is like, I want to be. It's a respectable premise for My Blue Heaven. All right, like a comedy. You know, it's a farce scenario. It's not a legitimate crime story or motivational. It's not. I've yet to see anything.
I think what you're saying is completely valid for what we've had. So what we've seen in the way that they've handled it. But the but here is that I think if the idea or the concept that they are playing with is that everyone, all criminal organizations eventually become the mainstream version of whatever, you know, everything has its roots in black markets first before becoming legit. If this is like Deadwood being tamed and then, you know, we could be in for an interesting story in the sense that as he starts to go more mainstream or becomes more powerful, the Pinkertons do come. And then he has to deal with them.
But the world that he's in is not lawless right now. It's pretty lawful. Like, the worst they got is some mod kids stealing water and they're just hanging out. Like, it's not a wild. They got families showing up every day on cruise liners hanging out and shit. Like,
I mean that depends on, I mean, no, and that right there is a frontier idea. And I do think that's where this is kind of going is that they are colonizing Tatooine in a big way after the Empire. It is happening, but also you can't say that that's the case when you got Tusken Raiders fucking eating people and you got trains full of drugs going through and shit like that. Like,
and Boba isn't trying to tame it and bring law and order. He's trying to be the guy they pay tribute to while he runs all the drugs. Now I run the. It's not like he's trying to be the sheriff of Tatooine.
I don't think so. No, actually, that isn't correct, because when he learns it's a spice train, that is when he says it's not looking good for you, because you can tell he doesn't like it. He doesn't like the spice mines of Kessel. He's not a fan of that. And I kind of think that they're making him like the old mafioso who didn't like cocaine. And then you got the cocaine guys. I think that's what's going on. But like I said,
Vito Corleone, when he was young in the Robert De Niro flashbacks, had to shoot dudes in the fucking head in cold blood and murder people to take over. He's never done this. That's
right.
The sins of your past haunt you when your child, your war hero child, becomes you, despite all your best, you know, efforts to maybe, like, you know, not do that in some way.
That's a valid critique for the opening of the valid. Like, I think it's a valid critique of where is, like, the guy that we're seeing. Where's the juxtaposition, right? I mean, you're totally right on that, but it doesn't mean that they won't take it there. And I don't mean like showing his criminal
one day,
horrible past.
Someday.
I mean, no, exactly. That's, but it doesn't mean that they won't tell that story, having not done that legwork for that. It doesn't mean that they won't do that. I feel like that's where this is going, though. I feel like this is essentially the American frontier, and he wants to get in on Deadwood, and but the Pinkertons are coming. The New Republic is patrolling the space above Tatooine right now. It's there.
This was a very ineffective way to tell that story, Jason. You are giving it
it's not bad. It's not
clarity
bad.
That I used to give clarity to the Phantom Menace or the prequels, and it's sort of vaguely there, but it's so unclear, and it's just not clear. If this were a spec script that were a spec series handed in, and you're reviewing it because you were supposed to read the mail, but you did. You'd have a lot of notes. You'd have a lot of notes, and like this all has a lot of like distilling that down to what you just did, saying this is Deadwood, these are the Pinkertons. That is a level of distillation that hasn't. I'm not seeing it here. I'm not seeing the process having done that. I'm seeing like that's still big picture, and we need to whittle this into that. Yeah, like, that's how I feel so far.
Because right now my feeling of it is that I'm almost seeing this larger concept of we build up places to tear them down, and that keeps the treadmill of the stories always going. Restore Mandalore, destroy it. Restore because it's Star Wars. It's always got to be that strife always has to be there. And I feel like what they're doing with Tatooine is they are settling Tatooine, and I think that they will tear it apart. I think that's sort of, if they're smart.
And the logical way to write that would be have Boba Fett tame the place fairly quickly. Yeah. Everyone's actually really happy with him, and then the Pike show up and fuck his whole fucking day up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this is the structure of this is so, it goes against anything anyone would ever normally pay for, like,
no, I completely agree. Like I've almost feel like if they wanted to like do this story, they should have rethought Boba Fett and who he was. I mean, I hate to say it, and I don't even know if I would want this, but if Boba Fett did actually have a family, if he did have like a daughter, like what the fake rumor kind of was like going for, if he had something that made it where like, oh, he was actually like, there was more reason for this stuff, it would make a lot more sense. But we don't really have anything. All we have is his daddy died, and everybody's daddy dies eventually, and a lot of people are orphaned and they don't become Boba Fett. You know what I mean?
I mean, if it's Unforgiven, is this guy a Little Bill or is he Clint Eastwood's character? Was it Holden, William, whatever? The fucking, which I don't know. Like I get the feeling they want him to be more like Little Bill, where he used to be a criminal, but now he's keeping everyone in line, but he's doing it with fear. And then this dude shows up. What if the dude who showed? What if the Clint Eastwood character was Cad Bane, right? Like a character who's on like a reckoning. And then he actually bests Boba, but then Boba has to team up with him. You know what I mean? Like there's some arc there, something, but this lacks. It lacks that. It's just not clear. And look, one day they could get to it. We were talking earlier in the week about Filoni's writing style, how he tends to take a certain amount of time to get somewhere with something, right? Like
yes,
like in the cartoons, it could take a couple seasons. I get it, but in cartoons, people are really lenient with that sort of thing. For whatever reason, with animation, people just sort of expect cartoons to be like a little procedural in that way. Like it's the same little premise, and we sort of incrementally inch towards something. In live action, man, you gotta get to it fast. People just expect that you're gonna get to this point sooner than later, and the longer you take, they don't have the patience for it. You don't have the patience for 2 seasons of live action before you get to the point. It's not gonna fly.
That I completely agree with. It's like I was trying to find that thing I did a while ago, but I can't find it about the Khrushchev. What's it called? Khrushchev effect. Khrushchev effect. And
with the different face, the face of the sound.
I feel like there is this. I don't know if it's like part of the philosophy of the company. Or if it's just this tacitly understood, kind of way of telling the cool shove effect. Thank you, cool shove effect. Is that so in that right there, you have like a face and you look at it, and then depending on what comes before and after will make you how you interpreted that face you read on it. And for certain kind of characters like Mando, it actually tends to work really well. I learned of this after I was really critical of the idea that you wouldn't see Boba's face originally. That's what I thought. I was like, you have to see the face, you can't connect. Even with Iron Man, they put the camera inside. That's where my mind was at. And then I was like, okay, well, 3PO works that way. 3PO, you don't see his face. And he could look really sad. Like Anthony Daniels talks about the first time he ever saw 3PO's face. He's had this profound sadness in it. And depending on where you put it, he does look kind of sad. In other ways, you put it, looks really fearful. It's a good design in that way where that effect works really well. But I almost feel like there's almost like a tacit sort of like philosophy of Star Wars based around that effect. And it's like, don't say too much. And they and in doing so, like they want to, they know if they say too much, then you get mad at them. But the truth is they're dropping the ball on that so often that they might as well say too much and at least make it what they mean, as opposed to trying to like worrying about pivot points and stuff like that in the story. And I don't know if they really do, but that's what my sense is. Okay, I sense that, like, yeah, you could say more, but then you're running yourself in a corner. But you know what? Like honestly, being written in a corner and getting out is the most fun. It's just like it's almost like
it's the Vince Gilligan way of. We had this conversation before when we're talking about Rian Johnson. We're talking about Ryan
Johansson
versus the JJ.
Get his name right or get off the fucking show, dude. It's Rian Johansson.
JJ tends to never say anything specific, so it all could go any way. But he's not written himself into any corner. He's just put a lot of pieces on the table, and we'll figure out which ones we want to use and ignore the rest. But I tend to subscribe to the Vince Gilligan approach of just write everything until you don't know where you're going to go with this, and then do the fucking work. Get everyone, the smartest people you can get into a room, you know what I mean? And give yourself the biggest fucking headache you can and make it work, because watching characters struggle out of impossible situations lends you to always go, oh, would I do that? Would I do this? And you want to always place yourself, you want to be able to place the audience into the lead character. In a way, you want that transference where you're always like, "Oh, I would do this," and I would. No one. I mean, we're all like, we none of us are getting past the whole. I wouldn't kill people if I was trying to be a criminal overlord philosophy. Like Boba Fett's taken almost the Batman philosophy of I will never kill any bad guy. Meanwhile, the Avengers are fucking waxing dudes left and right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so weird. Batman can't do it, but the Avengers, man, they could just kill anybody and it's okay. You know, Captain America, boo 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 boo. You know, so I just like. Write yourself into the corner, man. But you know what it takes? You can't have the writing yourself in the corner thing unless you're a genius writer. You need a team of writing behind it. You can't do it with you and like one other person, you know, figuring out a story.
A part of me though is afraid of it in a weird way. Like that's what this is, because it doesn't have any structure. It's very like we were saying, it's just kind of an unstructured mess. And then by the time you get to the last episode,
he was on X-Files.
They just did whatever they want. But it's like the JJ philosophy and even the X-Files one. You have this sort of like your stupid sci-fi stoner brain is on. And you're like, fucking polar bears in the jungle, what? And then you walk in, you're like, there's a hatch in the island, what? Like when you're just doing that constantly, it's easy to build up a lot of intrigue, and it's very, very fascinating. And of course, in that kind of idea, but we don't have stories where Boba Fett's walking around going, "There's a hatch in the desert." What, you know, like that isn't what these are. Hey, what's up, Bespin?
No, it's nowhere near the Twin Peaks David Lynch, right? Yeah. It's like trying. one would think, because I know, like, we were talking with James a couple days ago, and I was like, all right, man, tell me who you think would direct this Qui-Gon movie. And he goes, Guillermo del Toro. And I'm like, hey, we all agree Guillermo del Toro would make a great Star Wars director. And I started thinking, if Guillermo del Toro had directed the scene in which, they go to Jabba's palace, that palace would not look like that in any way, shape, or form. And but that level of like detail, like that how do I say, that kind of minutia that some people go, doesn't matter, man, doesn't matter. Hey, man, when it's your fucking job, you better make it matter. You know what I mean? Like, that's why you're getting paid to do it. You have to obsess and fight with corporate. We don't have the budget. Well, you better find us some fucking budget. You know what I mean? You better get some 501st or something up here. I fucking walk from this product. I'm not going to be here and give you the fucking, the low rent version of Jabba's fucking palace, the Casa Bonita version of Jabba's palace, like, and I just feel like everything here at some point could have been like, whoa, this is a lower budget, or this is whatever. And it's like, it doesn't matter if COVID affected shit. It doesn't matter, whatever. If you're Star Wars, you have to you have to be attempting to fire at 100%. You don't have to hit it, but you have to be attempting it. Anytime you start going, well, it's an Ewok movie and we're doing a low budget thing and we got, a hand-me-down Drew Barrymore over here, and and it's not going to fly with people. It's never flown with people. That's why those movies are completely fucking forgettable. The Caravan of Courage and shit, So people just expect more. And I mean, like, feels like that's a lesson that was learned 40 years ago,
It should have been.
Oh, man, that's so good.
Mark Hamilton made that. Good job, dude.
It's the perfect amount of bad. Love it.
Yeah. It's pretty good. So I encourage everybody to go to TeePublic, get shirts made of it so you can get your store shut down. It'd be a good time.
I never would have guessed he'd say that in that episode. That we're on Star Wars Bingo. I was like, get the fuck out of here. I guess maybe they won't be doing that on. Do you think now that they won't be doing that at Obi-Wan if Kitzer's in there?
Well, it's like there are shortcuts that have to be taken to like inform the audience of what matters and what doesn't. And like funny enough, I think Flashdance and her what's her name? I can't remember the character's name.
Jennifer Beals.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Jennifer Beals.
If it's a stunning woman, I never forget the name.
yeah. No, her character's name though. It's like Grief Karga.
Fuck, I don't know.
It's like Madame
Twilight McTitties. I don't know.
her name is Madame Queef Karga. That's her name. No, Queef Karga.
So fucked up, dude.
No, but
what was it? So there's a TikTok going around where some woman's like, say your husband's online screen name, and she's looking at him while he's playing Call of Duty, and she goes, it was like McQueeferton or Conquistador. Conquistador. Yeah.
Garza Queef. Garza. God, I mean, could you have put a more beautiful woman
at this point?
Could you put a more beautiful woman and given her a more ugly name? You know what I mean? It's like her name might as well have been Gorak shit. Like, it's just such a terrible name.
I'm not a fan of the Filoni style names, man.
Yeah, that might even be a Favreau thing since he wrote it. Caravan of Courage is classic. I cried as a kid when the woodsman Ewok got squished by the Goraks. But anyways, where I was going with all of this is that what happens is Star Wars has been pretty asexual for the last couple of years. They're so afraid of doing anything that's against Disney or against any of you incel fucking jacking off to fucking Ewok porn idiots that they're afraid to let two characters even kiss on screen half the time. So you get Flashdance, Garza Flip, and there's a little bit of cleavage in the scene, and nobody hears a fucking word she says. Nobody heard a goddamn thing she said, and the things that she was saying were oftentimes kind of important about what the climate
exposition
they like put it on her, and nobody saw because space tits, space cleavage. That's just the truth. I mean, I've just seen it. It's
honestly though, it's not just the booze, man. She has the smile. It's that.
Oh, she was everything.
She was pandering. Was that patronizing? Is that the word I'm thinking of? Yeah, patronizing him. and patronizing them, whatever. And I learned that one from American Beauty, but
right,
my education's poor. And
also Goonies.
But she was patronizing me.
I believe in Goonies. That was a thing too. Mikey always trying to use
it's a
big
booty
words.
trap. It's a booby. That's what I said. Booty trap. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
He played Kennedy once, but yeah. Same difference is what I learned from Goonies. That's the first time I remember that.
Right.
Anyhow, I'm with you. Like they are super fucking afraid to do anything for some reason, and now it seems like if anything Boba Fett has done, they've come out, to quote a famous Ninja Turtles concert, they've come out of the shells a little bit in terms of they've got prequel stuff. We got some boobs back, you know, like you know what I'm saying? like we're getting some things back here that they've kept from us for quite the while, you know?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's like I was trying to say, you know, we were having a discussion on the show and the thought was like, hey, you know, the average fan doesn't really think this hard. Most people are happy with this. And my point is like, I think it's so easy to please Star Wars fans that when you're not, you're kind of doing something really fucking wrong. And the proof of that to me was the last episode, which all you had to do was put these things in there and everyone's like, this is the greatest Star Wars ever. Like, some people are legit. I don't think it's a great Star Wars ever. It's fucking great Star Wars, right? It's clap. That's fun. Not the
what are the odds?
Star Wars ever.
What are the odds though? She starts doing this in front of that Wookiee next time when he goes in the fight. She's like does like a dance off and just
the fact they haven't done this on Saturday Night Live yet just shows you like they're not even trying. You know, like that should have been done. The very all you got to do is get someone in there, you know, with the weird tentacles and shit. You know. Get Will Susso to come in there, bring back anybody. Anyway, man, you know what they should have had? They should have had John Lovitz do it.
And to be clear, I mean, not that Salvador is saying that. He says, totally agree. Lucas was going to introduce Dar Talon as the first villain. She was sexualized in the comics. So Disney created Phasma, the opposite. I mean, it's not like they created Phasma because of her. Like, it didn't really happen that way. But it does show you, like I get it. Like nobody wanted them to introduce Rey as the new Luke Skywalker who you want to beat off to if you're a boy or if you're into girls. They didn't want to do that. And so they really like just instead just stayed away from the whole thing, like romance. They just really, for the most part, like that's where like in episode 9, when you get to the stuff like with them kissing, it's like there is I think a part of that story where you have Rey and Kylo connecting, and I think that part of it works for a lot of women. That's the Reylos and stuff like that. But the boys were like, well, what is this? I mean, it's just the truth. That's kind of what happened. Is they didn't do a good job of making it clear to both sides of that coin. So in the end, you had no one happy. I don't know if that was the way to go, but it's like I was at, like when Han Solo is trying to hook up with Kira on the Falcon, like that was like almost as close to anything that they had done, and he just gets shot down, which fine, you know, in terms of what that was. But it is weird because it does kind of take away
the
a
fact
bit.
that he's not a coxman out there fucking slinging shit around goes against who he is in the very first time you've seen him, you know? Like,
yeah,
he should have been a bit of a fucking meathead fucking, you know, like poon chaser. I mean, sorry, that's the character. If you're unwilling to make it, don't make the fucking thing, you know? Like,
yeah, that's
do the Lando thing where you could have done something different, where he's really into fucking robots.
Well, no, but I mean, but that is honestly where it was pushed to. Am I against the idea of them using Lando to say, hey, people are bisexual, or to say, hey, pansexuality is a thing if they want to push that kind of idea? But the reality of it is I think they just pushed it over to Lando fucking a robot because that was easier than Lando fucking anybody. You know what I mean? It was
right.
It was actually,
they weren't saying anything. They were avoiding saying something.
They were just being ultra conservative. And when you really get down to it, and that's what's kind of funny. I actually find the Star Wars fandom to think it's this like, you know, really liberal place. it is actually the most fucking conservative like group of people I've ever fucking encountered. When you get down to it, like, oh god, they're so fucking uptight. Like the Star Wars fan base, even the ones who think they're liberal are super uptight. You know what I mean? They're not very forward thinking. And they hold on one second. My son's school is calling. Hello? Yeah, this is Luke's dad. Yeah.
Your son picked up someone and threw him over a ledge. Whoa.
Oh. Yeah, I'll come and pick him up and just check on him and make sure he's okay and everything like that. Okay, thank you. I'll be right there. Bye. Yeah, he's not feeling too good. He just had lunch, but he says he feels it's okay. He just says he feels a little bit shaky. So I'm like, He did skip breakfast this morning. I don't know if maybe that's why, but I'm gonna go pick up my little dude and make sure he's okay. But
go be a dad.
Yeah, and so I will be. We'll be back tomorrow, and I'm gonna go pick up the boy, and everybody have a good day. And if anything happens, I'll jump back on, and we'll hit it then. But see everybody. Bye.
It's not about spaceships.
Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show.
It's not about spaceships.